Hello, I'm the Tracks Professor, and I'd like to welcome you all to Why Bother with Manele, a story about power, money, and enemies. This is going to be a series of video lectures in which we will attempt the impossible, to map the social importance and subversive potential of Romania's most controversial music genre, Manele.
Băutură, băutură și manele și femei de 7 stele. Băutură, băutură și gagici, nu aș mai pleca de aici.
Truth be told, I arrived a little bit late to the Manele party. Young Eastern European intellectuals have already started dissecting the subject as the interest in it grew in the past couple of years. Conferences and talks were held on the subject of Manele in cultural institutions like the museum or the conservatory, a thing that would have been considered sacrilegious not long ago. Ethnomusicologists, anthropologists and journalists alike have written scientific papers and articles and blog posts on the matter. Recently, a journalist even started a series of Manele-themed parties where middle-class youth could go in a safe environment and listen and dance to Manele freely. From means of expression of the uncivilized masses, Manele have become the precious subject of academic research. While all these initiatives are to be praised, considering of course that they are well-intentioned, they only do justice to the content of Manele, but don't stay true to the form, their primarily oral character, or to the function of the Manele discourse. As one academic mentions, Manele should be treated less as means to communicate and more as technologies of enchantment, which aim to change the way in which the world is perceived. There's clearly some knowledge in Manele, but it is a knowledge that does not know itself, that is implicit and embedded in their fabric. In attempting to make this explicit, we have to translate it into a different kind of discourse, a more academic and critical one. And that is a difficult task, because Manele are indeed an art of saying. Their discourse is characterized more by the way it exercises itself other than what is said in it. Translating in English is another barrier for me, as essential characteristics of that colloquial language or twists of grammar they use are going to be lost in translation. By choosing this form of oral communication through video, I attempt to restore a bit of these essential traits that would be lost in a piece of academic writing. I am aiming to keep the language accessible and explain certain terms either through speech or in small text boxes that will appear on screen. Where possible, I will let Manele speak for themselves through video clips to illustrate the point and help you get a flavor of the real thing. They will interrupt my speech periodically, highlighting their disruptive nature.
Nu vreau banii tăi, nu sunt pe interes. Sărac de-ai fi fost eu tot, pe tine te-aș fi ales.
Vass!
I am mixing references from a wide area of study to account for the eclecticism of Manele. For the sake of keeping the speech fluid, I will try to avoid name-dropping or announcing when I'm quoting or paraphrasing the source. By no means I'm trying to appropriate other people's research as my own, just to demonstrate one very common practice in Manele, plagiarism. A full list of references will be found in the video description as a proof of that, but they will also be there to help you engage in further reading if that's what you want. There will be a total of 5 videos, including this one. The next one will talk about the context in which Manele operate and the social justice aspect of it all. The third and fourth video will look at Manele performance aesthetically and outline its subversive powers. The last video, as expected, will be the conclusion. The reason why I chose the internet to do this is because I want to disseminate my knowledge through an open education type format. Why, you ask? It's kind of because I have a social agenda to educate people on the topic and inspire them to be more inclusive in their day-to-day lives. I think the outcomes of this research stretch far beyond the limits of Manele into all realms of life and public discourse. This is not necessarily a defense of Manele, but it will be a subjective account including my personal experience. Regardless of that, by the end of these lectures, you will be able to have your own informed opinion on the matters, and most importantly, on why it matters. I'm the Tracks Professor, and I can't wait to get started.
No.